This is the Apple Mac Pro 6.1 trash can. I think it looks more like an air filter. And if you've watched the previous video, then we've got a bunch of tests where we've checked the performance of the system. But I now want to put Windows on it, and I think Boot Camp is how we do it. So let's see how easy this makes it for us. So we're on Monterey. And let's just have a look in Finder and see if we've already got Boot Camp in here. Or do we have to install it? Guessing we need to install it. So Monterey, so we're what, 2 versions out of date? You don't need a USB flash drive. Great. I just want Boot Camp. So I could just get it from the App Store. Okay. Really don't like the little wheel on this. How to install Windows 10? Boot Camp Assistant. Oh, is it a space? Do I have to search for it with a space? Oh, I do. Doesn't like the idea of me just installing it without a space. So here we go. Install Windows. So let's split it 50-50. Oh, that's frustrating. I really want it to be 500 on both, but it's... Oh, wait, let me. Can I make this bigger and then... No, okay. Do I have to have already downloaded Windows 10? Okay, I'll do that. So I've tried, I've started downloading it from Internet Archive, but it's gonna take 2 days, 13 hours. So I'll cancel that and download it on a Windows PC using the Microsoft downloader. That seems to be going much quicker. Funnily enough, I haven't downloaded an ISO file of Windows 10. I've always just put it on a USB, so it could be a while, but yeah. Oh, just this 501 and 499. I just wish I could set this to some sort of nicely neat number. Okay, that'll do. So I need to select my ISO file, and then we can sort of get started. I can also browse the network and access my little file server. So I could have copied the ISO file here. So that's quite neat. Just running a quick speed test. The Wi-Fi connection on this is really, really good. I'm in the attic and the Wi-Fi router is on the ground floor. These speeds are way quicker than I would normally get up here in the attic, so the Mac Pro is doing a good job here. Okay, I've got ISO file on this USB, so I should be able to select it. Windows ISO. Just going to leave that as it is. See where we get. I've got the Max fan control up here in the top bar, showing me the temperature of the processor. It is now partitioning the disk. Not much more to say about that. It's now copying Windows files from the USB. Nice little flashing light on that USB drive. Just having a quick look on eBay for memory for this system. Surprising how cheap DDR3 RAM is. Someone's selling 64 gigabytes, 4 times 16 gig for £35. I mean, I don't think I need 64 gigs. I've only got 16 in my main PC, and that seems okay. But yeah, DDR3 and perhaps, you know, ECC is really quite affordable. You can get 32 gigs, and that's 2 times 16 for £20. You'd want all 4 so that you're running in quad channel. Okay, this is still going. Bootcamp Windows support software version 6136. I'm just having a look at this memory. As this is DDR3 ECC, and it looks like this machine will take ECC registered and ECC unbuffered, but you shouldn't mix them. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Something's happening. Oh look, we have the Windows boot. This feels so wrong. Oh, we have to go through setup. Hopefully this will be quick. We can do that later. Coretemp Pro. And this must be the Mac 455 466 Bootcamp. Just leave those on default settings because I don't want to mess them up. I think in one of my other videos I was talking about how useful these things are, the power monitors, because in a situation like this you can't really see CPU usage, disk usage, things like that. You can't really tell whether it's actually doing something. I mean, it is doing something, but it's difficult to tell, you know, what. But because there's this watt meter here, 145 watts, which means basically using the CPU lots. It's doing stuff, it's active. If it was doing nothing, this would be much lower. So it's, yeah, I like these things. They're useful for seeing what's happening when you can't access what you want on the screen, or say you had a problem with the system, like maybe it was booting up but freezing at a certain point. You didn't know what was happening. This kind of thing gives you a good indication. We're restarting. Okay, we can just skip through all of this as quickly as possible. Mac. It's not really taking that long. Almost there. Oh, we're here. We're actually here. We're in Windows 10. Task Manager. What do we get? Got the processor, logical processors, 8 core 16. I really like this. This is nice. Memory 16 gig, DDR3, disk. We don't have a graphics. Device manager, and lots of things aren't installed. Maybe we need to go through the this. You will be guided through the steps necessary. Okay. Oh, is this where it installs all the drivers? Okay. You must restart. Okay. Pretty quick at booting up. Let's check device manager again. Got display adapters, nice, D500. Everything else looks to be there. Let's look at task manager. So we've now got the 2 graphics cards. Got the disk, CPU, memory. Okay, so I'll just connect to Wi-Fi and put some kind of tools on here to have a look around the system. So might as well run speed test now that we're on Windows 10. It's probably going to be downloading updates as well. But yeah, we're getting the same fast Wi-Fi connection even in Windows 10. So that's great. And I've been able to connect to my little file server, and I have got Crystal DiskMark. Great. But I don't have some of the other things I like to have, like Crystal Disk Info and CPZ. So I'll download those and add them onto here. Just do a quick Crystal DiskMark, see what we're getting. It's a very respectable speed. Good write speeds as well. So yeah, very nice read and write speeds there. Okay, we've got Coretemp, which is giving us a temperature for all 8 cores. We've got CPZ telling us about everything. Mainboard, Apple, Mac model, etc. Ivy Bridge X79, BIOS 2023, memory, quad channel, and each slot as well. SK Hynix graphics, and we can bench it. You can see the power usage going up here, temperature going up as well. We're getting a score of 3,419 on CPZ. That compares to, say, no, i7 2600 is 1600. i7 4790, okay. i7 6700K, i7 7700K, i7 8700K beats it. So it's a sort of level performance. Which is pretty good. And if we have a look at disk info, we can find out a bit more about the main drive. Assuming it loads, there we go. So Apple SSD, temperature, lots of power on hours, if that's right, 6 years, 17 days. Turned on 1,097 times. I'm just downloading Passmark performance test and UserBenchmark, and it's quite interesting. Here it says download from Microsoft Store, not recommended. Quite funny. I don't really like UserBenchmark. It's become really awkward and painful to use, but it does give me a memory throughput figure that's quite useful. So let's mute this. I just don't understand how this can be a useful benchmark if it's doing all of this at the same time as running the benchmark. And you also have to join a queue and shoot 9 ships to continue. It's absolutely total garbage the way they make you do this. It's like, how ridiculous is this? I have to shoot 8 ships to continue with this awful, awful game. Oh dear. I hate this. Oh, I've got to shoot 7 more ships and then I might be able to run the benchmark. Like, do they think people actually want to do this? It's literally not worth the hassle. Out of range, great. Six to go. Does show the oh look, apparently I can fly around. Oh, okay. Is that going to make it easier? Probably not. Honestly, really hate it. Four to go. Then I can run this stupid benchmark software. Three to go. So I have to find the ones that are still left. Can roll left. Okay, maybe I can actually run a benchmark. Yep, it's running the benchmark. So how much performance is lost because it's flying around this 3D graphics? I could be running 3D Mark, couldn't I, in Windows 10? Okay, we can open the benchmark results. So, I don't know why it says it's not a workstation. Above expectations. Says the graphics performance is average, but fast SSD, lots of memory. So it says the processor is performing below expectations, but still good. The graphics card performing as expected. but compared to an RTX 2060, it's not as good. This is performing well. It's also tested the USB drive, which we don't need. USB 2 drive and 40 gigabytes a second memory, which is the quad channel. So 40 gigabytes a second for DDR3. I'll have to look at other videos to see how that compares. I've done a whole series of tests of memory speeds that you can have a look at. There's a DDR3 versus DDR4, so I'll have a look and see how it compares to that. So as you can see here, this is my DDR3 versus DDR4 memory video, and we've got these figures here which show DDR3 running in dual channel 18 gigabytes per second and DDR4 running in dual channel 20 gigabytes per second. So that was using memtest, but we're in UserBenchmark. We're getting 40 gigabytes per second because of the quad channel RAM, so that's really good. In fact, if you have a look at this video, there's links through to all the different memory speed tests, and I've also done single channel versus dual channel versus triple channel DDR3.
You've heard of
here. Let's have a quick look at what we got on this one. Triple channel, we got 15 gigabytes per second. This was an early Intel system, so quite a lot older than the Xeon system as far as I'm aware. I'd have to look up all the figures, but yeah, this gives us a rough sort of reference point. 40 gigabytes per second is really good. So yeah, that's really good for this quad channel. So yeah, why don't we try 3D Mark? If you watch the other video on the Mac Pro, when I was using the Mac OS, it was really easy to install programs. You're probably familiar with installing stuff on Windows 10 on Windows machines, but if you're not, this is what the process is like. You download it, you run it, you click next, you agree to some terms and conditions, you click next again, you have some stupid options to go through, you click next again, you then have to tell the computer that you want to do what you want it to do, and yeah, it's just kind of like such a more awkward, complicated setup, and then you get to a point where you have to wait for it to do what you've asked it to do. It's so much easier on a Mac, which is really quite stark when you have them both next to each other or use one after the other. Then when you run it, will it work? It looks like it's going to work. So benchmarks run. Just going to close the browser. So 3D Mark 11, I think, came out in 2011. Don't quote me on that. So this system should be able to cope quite well with all of this, in theory. It's not my favorite in terms of 3D Mark ones to watch. It's, yeah. Interesting how much power it was using when the graphics were running. There was around 285 watts. It's a score of 10,612. Graphics driver is not approved. Better than 71% of all results. So, as a reference point, I don't really know what this should be scoring. Let me just do a very, very quick run, and I'll just have a look how much power it's using. Yeah, so when it's just the CPU running, it was around 150, 160 watts, and now we've got the graphics card running and we're getting, 265 watts in use. And let me just have a look at temperatures. So maximum 68. I don't really know what the system will do running Windows and whether it will automatically ramp up the fan speeds as the temperature increases. Yeah, we could just run this for a bit, but yeah, this probably seems like a good place to end the video. We don't have the CPU temperatures in this, which you would normally get in Windows. You would normally have, it would normally tell you the graphics card temperature in here, but it's not. So that's why Coretemp's useful to have here. You can see all the processors, all the cores are running at 100%, and we're using about just under 3 gigs of memory. But yeah, this is probably a good enough place to stop the video. We've got Windows 10 running on an 8-core, 16-thread Mac Pro, and it's still really quiet. Okay, thanks for watching. Let me know what you would do with this Mac, if I missed anything, if I should be using some different drivers for stuff. It seems perfectly responsive enough, even with this running. Temperatures seem reasonable, although not as low as we were getting in Mac, but then I wasn't running a continuous stress test. Cool. All right, see you in the next video.